Naruto as a franchise is riddled with misconceptions, whether that be the many plot holes that are not necessarily plot holes, or the widely misconceived myth that Naruto's story is about hard work being superior to natural talent. Even so, the one I find most fascinating is the idea that Naruto isn't a proper battle tactician, or at least is inferior to not just one but most of his peers. This misconception stems from the widely known Shonen trope which depicts the main character as less intelligent, at least in comparison to everyone else. They then offset this by transferring those same stat points to that character's determination, wittiness, and ability to consume food in large portions. This trope has been repeated countless times to great success, which explains why it's still a staple within the industry. With that said, the trope itself isn't always consistently applied. There are variations in some instances, which brings us back to Naruto. You see, while Naruto is often portrayed as someone who rushes into battle without a plan or lacks a certain level of battle awareness, that isn't actually the case, for the most part. In fact, most of Naruto's battles are won due to his ability to analyze and exploit his enemies' weaknesses, whilst also playing to his own strengths. Now, I must admit that calling the #1 hyperactive knucklehead ninja genius in any capacity might seem like a not so funny joke, since we tend to attribute being a genius to being book smart, which isn't always the case. Outperforming your classmates in academics doesn't make you a great battle tactician or a battle genius, that just makes you book smart. Now, to drive home this point properly, I'm going to go through most of the important fights Naruto had throughout the entire series, including the last movie and Boruto's manga. Though I won't be dissecting the entire fights, just the parts that shows Naruto's ability to assess a battlefield and come up with a plan to take the W. With that said, let's get into the video. So the first fight we'll be dissecting is Naruto versus Zabuza. And as I said before, we'll only be focusing on the parts of the battle where we see Naruto actually using his brain. Also, I won't be giving a full history lesson on the fight itself because I want to make the video as short as possible. Now, this particular sequence of events began when Kakashi got captured by Zabuza's water prison jutsu. This then leaves a team of fresh genin consisting of Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura to protect the traveler. Kakashi then tells them to run and protect said traveler, but Naruto and Sasuke opts to save Kakashi instead because he's the only one capable of actually taking down Zabuza. We then see that Naruto immediately takes charge of the situation and devises a plan to free Kakashi to both Sakura and Sasuke's surprise. The plan itself starts with Naruto bombarding Zabuza with his shadow clones, thus obscuring his vision. Then after being repelled by Zabuza, Naruto throws Sasuke a shuriken, which he then throws at Zabuza, which prompts him to catch it. Now, while Zabuza was distracted by the shuriken, Naruto transformed into another shuriken unbeknownst to him. He then had Sasuke hurl him at Zabuza, knowing that he would dodge it since one hand was holding the water prison jutsu while the other hand held the first shuriken. Now after Zabuza dodged his second shuriken, Naruto transformed back into himself and then fired a kunai at his head, prompting him to move his hand, thus freeing Kakashi from the water prison jutsu. This battle showed Naruto's ability to stand firm and remain composed in tough situations, whilst also exemplifying his ability to strategize and come up with a plan when the need arises.
Hey you, the freak with no eyebrows.
Now the second fight we're going to talk about is Naruto versus Neji. Now there is a lot of misconception about this fight and I'm not entirely sure why that's the case. What I can say is that Naruto's proficiency as a battle tactician is certainly on display here for all to see, so let's just get into it. Now this really starts after Neji activated his Byakugan, which then prompts Naruto to use his multi-shadow clone jutsu, which actually evenly distributes chakra among them, making it impossible to tell which one is the real one even with the Byakugan. Though while this was extremely helpful to Naruto in this instance, Neji still overpowered him with his visual prowess and his mastery in taijutsu. After realizing this, Naruto created a plan to defeat Neji by leaving one of his clones behind, which tricked Neji into believing that the clone was the real Naruto. Naruto then also released his clones one by one in an effort to assure Neji of his win, which prompts him to let his guard down. He then used this opportunity to attack Neji from above, but ultimately failed when Neji unleashed his clan's defensive technique called rotation, after which he was able to close Naruto's chakra points using 8 trigrams 64 palms, which of course prompts Naruto to use the 9 tails chakra. Now after colliding with Neji, they both got slammed into the ground, but only Neji stood up while Naruto laid unconscious. Though unbeknownst to Neji, the Naruto laying on the ground was a shadow clone, and the real Naruto crawled his way underground waiting on Neji to arrive. Naruto then defeats Neji using an uppercut as he emerged from beneath the surface, thus ultimately proving that he isn't as mentally inept as everyone thought he was.
Cause people called me a failure. I'll prove them wrong!
Now third on the list we have Naruto versus Gaara. This is shown after gaining the courage to protect Sasuke and save Sakura, Naruto devised a plan to attack Gaara's weak point, which is the base of his tail. He first displayed his proficiency in using the shadow clone technique by first sending 3 clones to distract Gaara, then used another clone to throw himself at him. What Gaara didn't realize is that Naruto intentionally missed the target so that he could attack him from behind with the 1000 Years of Death technique, which came after propelling himself upwards with another shadow clone. This attack ended up freeing Sakura and disabled Gaara for a brief moment. Now there is another instance where, after being reminded of Haku's words, Naruto finally tapped into his huge chakra reserves and filled the forest with his shadow clones to everyone's surprise. This allowed him to overpower Gaara, which then forced him into a perfect possession. That's when, while on the verge of getting crushed by Sand Burial casted by Shukaku, Naruto summoned Chief Toad as a way to free himself since he knew the Toad would summon beneath him. The rest of the fight was really led by Gamabunta, so Naruto merely followed along from here on out.
Those hours of practice are finally paying off! This'll be a breeze!
Now next on the list we have Naruto versus Kakuzu. So upon entering the battlefield, Naruto first created 2 clones and used them to gauge Kakuzu's abilities and fighting style. He then summoned 3 more clones and used 2 of them to aid him in creating one of the most overpowered abilities in the entire franchise, known as Rasen Shuriken. And while it seemed like he was just going to charge at Kakuzu without a plan in mind, it was quite the opposite. You see, Naruto did charge ahead with the clones in front of him, but he used them as a diversion, thus creating an opening to attack him. This plan actually ended up working, but the ability itself ran out before it could hit Kakuzu, and Naruto had to be saved by Kakashi and Captain Yamato. He then decided to go again with a different yet similar plan in mind. First, he summoned 3 more clones and had 2 of them assist him with creating another Rasen Shuriken. He then initiated his second attempt with the clones in front of him while he ran with the Rasen Shuriken. Though after seeing Naruto do this the first time around, Kakuzu decided to ignore the clones this time and go after the Naruto with the Rasen Shuriken, who he assumes to be the real Naruto. Kakuzu then seemingly kills this Naruto, only for it to be revealed to be a shadow clone all along. Unbeknownst to Kakuzu and the audience, the real Naruto had mixed in with the clones and passed off the Rasen Shurikens to one of them. And while Kakuzu was distracted by this clone with the Rasen Shuriken, the real Naruto created another Rasen Shuriken and used it to defeat him. This is yet another stepping stone in the series itself as it relates to Naruto's temperament and strategic capabilities.
I did it. That was sweet.
By the way, over 85% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel, so if you are interested in Naruto and Boruto content, remember to hit subscribe and also join our Discord server where we pretty much talk about any anime you can think of. With that said, let's get back to the video. Next on the list we have Naruto vs Gaara Round 2. All you need to know is that this took place in the Will of Fire movie where Kakashi was going to sacrifice himself to stop the main villain. Now on his way to stop this from happening, Naruto had a confrontation with Gaara, who believes that Kakashi is doing the right thing for everyone. Naruto and Gaara ends up battling, and we once again see Naruto's proficiency in using the shadow clone technique. First, you see Naruto literally use his clones as a ladder to get up to Gaara, then as shurikens to attack him. He then later breaks Gaara's defense using the Rasengan and retracts it before it could kill Gaara. It is then revealed that the Naruto with the Rasengan was a clone. Then the real Naruto used this opening to defeat Gaara with a single punch.
Kakashi Sensei's life. The lives of all the villagers. I can't weigh one against the other. The only thing that I want is to protect Kakashi Sensei!
Next on the list we have Naruto vs Kakashi. Now this happened during the bell test in early Shippuden after Naruto returned to the village. In essence, while trying to retrieve the bell, Kakashi decided to use genjutsu on Naruto and Sakura, showing them a dying Sasuke. Though both of them quickly realized that it wasn't real and easily released it. Kakashi for some reason then tried to trick them again with another genjutsu by making them think that he dropped the bells. Naruto then pretends as if he doesn't know that it's a trick and goes after the bells only to get captured. It is then revealed that the Naruto that got captured was just a clone. The real Naruto then emerged from the trees and knocked down Kakashi, who escaped by performing substitution jutsu. Coming in at number 7 we have Naruto vs Pain, which is arguably the best indicator of Naruto's proficiency in his strategic capabilities. Now this fight starts off when Naruto enters the battlefield defeating one Pain in a single swoop. Then after being informed by Katsuya that the Predator Path has the ability to absorb ninjutsu, Naruto decides to use a form of taijutsu that manipulates nature energy called Frog Kumite. However, due to the visual prowess of the Rinnegan and the fact that the pains are visually linked through Nagato, the Predator Path was able to see and react to Naruto's attacks even with his eyes closed. After realizing this, Naruto devised a plan to use a form of Frog Kumite that manipulates nature energy to defeat the pain with an invisible punch, which is pretty much nature energy itself. Naruto then proceeds to hurl a Rasen Shuriken at the pains, knowing that they would likely dodge it, then proceeded to expand the jutsu, thus taking out the human path. The third pain, known as the animal path, was taken out when Fukasaku devised a plan with Naruto to trap her in the mouth of Chief Toad, which then allowed Naruto to finish her off using Rasengan Barrage. Naruto was only able to do this due to the sensory abilities provided by Sage Mode, which allowed him to see her without actually seeing her. It's a similar concept to Tough Seismic Sense in Avatar. Now, this point in the fight is where we truly get to see Naruto's strategic capabilities and just his ability to plan ahead. You see, Naruto, knowing that there's a time limit to Sage Mode, created a way in which he could use his clones to gather Sage energy at Mount Miyaboku, which he was then able to reverse summon and absorb the nature energy they collected. This allowed Naruto to then re-enter Sage Mode once again. The mere fact that Naruto, of all people, could come up with such a plan that even surprised the two great Toad sages shows that he's a true genius. But it doesn't end there, because you see, Naruto then hurled another Rasen Shuriken at Tendo Pain, which ended up being absorbed by the Predator Path Naruto destroyed earlier. Katsuya and Naruto then deduces that the Naraka Path is responsible for the return of the Predator Path using the restoration ability of the King of Hell. Now with his sights set on the Naraka Path, Naruto devised a plan to take him out. The first step was to create a Rasengan Barrage, then use smoke bombs as a cover to create and hurl another Rasen Shuriken at Tendo Pain, knowing that the Predator Path would try to absorb it. To the Predator Path's surprise, the Rasen Shuriken he was trying to absorb was the original Naruto, who transformed into the Rasen Shuriken under the cover of the smoke bombs. This allowed Naruto to tackle the Predator Path to the ground, which then opened up the Tendo Pain to ninjutsu based attacks since he doesn't have the ability to absorb chakra. Naruto's Shadow Clones then used this opening to hurl the real Rasen Shuriken at Tendo Pain, which was a brilliant strategy. However, Tendo's ability to use Almighty Push returned just in time for him to disperse the technique. Though unbeknownst to him, which is my favorite word by the way, Naruto hurled one of his clones into the sky under the cover of the smoke and the two Rasen Shurikens Naruto threw earlier. That clone then landed on the Naraka Path, thus destroying him using a Rasengan. This then leaves us with two remaining paths, the Deva Path, also known as Tendo Pain, and the Preda Path. By the way, this section was also pretty great as well, because after getting repelled by Tendo Pain's Almighty Push, Naruto was then held by the Preda Path, who proceeded to absorb Naruto's nature energy, thus removing Sage Mode from the equation. Now with no way to free himself, Naruto opts to absorb as much nature energy as he could, which then overloads the Preda Path, thus turning him into a toad. After which Naruto is then disabled by Tendo Pain, who then appears to end Hinata right in front of him. This then of course triggers Naruto's Ninetales transformation, which slowly began to overpower Tendo. But after brawling with the Ninetales for a bit, Pain decided to seal the Ninetales using Shibaku Tensei. The Ninetales transformation is then suppressed by the chakra of the 4th Hokage, and Naruto then returns to the battlefield in Sage Mode once again. Naruto then proceeded to use the dust and rubble falling from Shibaku Tensei Tendo did earlier as a cover to create multiple shadow clones and transform them into rubble. Also, after being denied his request to speak to the original Pain, Naruto breaks off one of Tendo's black receivers and uses it to reverse track the real Pain known as Nagato Uzumaki, which is obviously a brilliant strategic move. Naruto then decided to drop some smoke bombs and uses them as a cover to hurl a Rasen Shuriken at Pain, knowing that he would disperse it using Almighty Push. He then sent another Rasen Shuriken in quick succession in an effort to beat the 5-second interval Pain has on his abilities. Pain of course then dodges the Rasen Shuriken only to be bombarded with a barrage of shadow clones Naruto had transformed into rubble earlier. This forces Tendo to use Almighty Push once again to repel the clones, thus opening up another 5-second interval for which his abilities won't be available. Though while Naruto was being repelled by Tendo's Almighty Push, he used his clones as an opposing force, which allowed him to withstand the attack. Now against the clock and without Sage Mode, which would have allowed him to throw his Rasen Shuriken at Pain before his abilities returned, Naruto came up with the idea to hurl himself at Tendo using his own clones. This allowed Naruto to close the gap before the end of the 5-second interval, thus defeating Tendo Pain.
I need to hear your stories. Then I'll give you my final response.
Very well. We'll tell you everything about our pain.
Coming in at number 8, we have Naruto versus Kiba in part 1. Now I completely forgot about this, but it just encapsulates what I mean when I say Naruto is a battle genius. You see, Kiba's ability called Fang over Fang or Fang passing Fang is performed when his pet dog transforms into a version of Kiba himself. They then pretty much rotates at insane speeds, which greatly amplifies the strength of their attack. In this specific instance, Kiba used a smoke bomb to block Naruto's vision so that he wouldn't be able to dodge. Naruto instead used this as a cover to use the transformation jutsu to transform himself into a version of Kiba. This of course confused Kiba for a brief moment, but he was later able to discern which of the transformed individuals was actually Naruto by his unique smell. And though this was definitely a great tactic employed by Naruto, this isn't even the best part. Because you see, Naruto was already 10 steps ahead. He knew Kiba would be able to smell him and tell them apart. So Naruto, after getting punched by Kiba, used the transformation jutsu once more to transform into Kiba's dog. This of course further confused Kiba since it made him believe that he made the wrong choice, which led to him knocking out his actual dog. Naruto then used that moment to land a decisive blow on Kiba, which led to him inevitably winning the fight, though I must say that it was due to other methods.
Sorry, but you can forget about being Hokage. Because I'm the top dog around here.
Next on the list we have Naruto versus Kurama. So in an effort to tame the fox's chakra, Naruto journeys into the mindscape and challenges the Ninetales. And after being protected by the Biju bomb fired by the Ninetales, Naruto enters Sage mode and hits Kurama with a massive Rasengan. Kurama of course deflects this and pins down Naruto, thinking that he has won, only for it to be revealed that the original Naruto was creating a Rasen Shuriken behind the Eight-Tails' detached tail. Another clone of Naruto then lifts the Ninetales into the air and lands him on his back. That's when the original Naruto comes in, pinning the Ninetales to the ground with a Rasen Shuriken, and then use the opportunity to initiate the extraction process. Though instead of extracting the Ninetales chakra, Naruto's own chakra gets corrupted by Kurama's hatred, which triggers his Ninetales transformation in the real world. Naruto is then saved from despair when the chakra of his mother emerges for the first time, which fills Naruto with happiness. Then after having a long conversation, and I mean a long conversation, Kushina helps Naruto to defeat the Ninetales by pinning him down with the Uzumaki adamantine sealing chains. Though as you guys know, Kurama is actually insanely overpowered, so he quickly breaks those chains just in time to stop Naruto's hordes of shadow clones. Kushina then used the last chain on Kurama's leg to topple him over, which allows Naruto to bombard him with his Sage Art Massive Rasengan barrage. Naruto then used this noise to hit Kurama with a surprise Rasen Shuriken, which aided in extracting Kurama's chakra.
Sorry, Ninetales. I promise I won't do wrong by you. So just hang in there for a little while.
Coming in at number 10, we have Naruto versus the third Raikage. Now this fight in particular is pretty memorable just due to the mere fact that this is one of Naruto's many shadow clones, and yet he's able to take on Kage level shinobi. This is exemplified when within mere seconds of entering the battlefield, Naruto finessed the third Raikage by first attacking him with a Rasen Shuriken from a distance using his chakra arm. The Raikage easily dodged this attack, but unbeknownst to him, Naruto had already planned ahead after assessing the speed and fighting ability of the fourth Raikage. Naruto then uses the chakra arm to hurl the Rasen Shuriken back at the third Raikage, only for him to dodge it again. That's when Naruto grabbed the Rasen Shuriken from mid-air, then proceeded to speed blitz him before he could recover from dodging the Rasen Shuriken. Though that wasn't enough to take down the third Raikage, so Naruto had to come up with another plan. So after noticing the scar on the third's chest, Naruto consulted the Eight-Tails on how he got it, since it said that he got it during the battle with the Eight-Tails. Though the Eight-Tails wasn't entirely sure how he got it, but what he knew for certain is that they both collapsed forward. With that information alone, Naruto came to the conclusion that the third got the scar by falling on his own technique. The battle then begins again with the third Raikage reducing his fingers, using his Hell Stab technique to just one as he advanced. Though the attack itself is dodged by Naruto using the enhanced reflexes and sensory abilities granted by Sage mode. He then used the Rasengan he created before to redirect the third's left hand into his chest. The force of the blow caused the third to impale himself with his own attack, which caused his body to crumble.
Honestly, in the Allied forces, there isn't a stronger wind style user than me.
Yeah, there is!
Next on the list we have Naruto versus the Tailed Beast. Now first we're gonna start with Naruto getting swallowed by the Four Tails. I believe this deserves a mention because I really want to highlight Naruto's ability to critically think in tough situations, and I believe this scenario is a great example of that. So after getting swallowed by the Four Tails, Naruto devised a plan to escape by filling the Tailed Beast with shadow clones, which pretty much forced him to vomit, thus releasing him. Though before leaving, Naruto left a clone behind whom later entered Sage Mode and used it to locate the black receiver on the inside. So with Naruto pulling from the outside and the clone pushing from the inside, Naruto was able to remove the black receiver, thus breaking the control Obito had over the Four-Tailed Beast. Then after befriending Kurama, Naruto used his newfound power to create a Biju Bomb and use it to counter another Biju Bomb amped by 5 Biju. Though Naruto didn't just counter it, he fired his Biju Bomb below the attack launched by the other Tailed Beast, which pushed it upwards, causing minimal damage to the landscape. He then used Sage Mode to locate the black receivers on the other Tailed Beast and then remove them, thus removing the influence Obito had over the Tailed Beast.
It's not the same old, same old. Not anymore! I just learned a whole bunch of really difficult names all at once!
Coming in at number 12, we have Naruto or Sage Naruto versus Jubito. Now this battle I feel showed how Naruto was observant even more so than other characters known for being battle smart such as Sasuke and Minato. This is shown when after running out of Nine Tails chakra, the battle seemed lost as none of their abilities were working on Jubito. Kamakichi before leaving fired his starch gun syrup technique at Jubito, which melted away the shield he created using the truth-seeking orbs. This revealed that the Ten Tails Jinchuriki's weakness is in fact nature energy, though this effect is only noticed by Naruto and the second Hokage, not anyone else. Naruto then entered Sage Mode himself and with the help of the second Hokage teleports above Obito and slams him into the ground with a Sage amped Rasengan. I kid you not when I say that this one observation is what tipped the war in their favor. There's also this instance where Naruto and Sasuke pretty much got blitzed by Jubito, who was moments away from blasting their heads off before they magically got teleported away. It is then revealed that they got saved by Naruto's split decision to connect both him and Sasuke to Minato using his chakra arms, which allowed him to save them by using Flying Raijin, which once again shows Naruto's ability to adapt and execute.
He instantly grasped how to use the Flying Raijin with me, and has even mastered Sage power. I feel like I'm fighting alongside Elder Brother.
Next on the list we have Naruto saves the entire Shinobi Alliance. I for one believe that this one moment really hammers home the point I'm trying to make in this video, so let's just get to the point instead of me rambling here. This began when Obito decided to annihilate the entire Shinobi Alliance by firing off 5 Biju bombs at the same time. The second Hokage and Minato planned to teleport 2 of them away using Flying Thunder God but had zero plans for the other 2. So with no way of escaping or getting rid of the Biju bombs, everyone started to lose hope. Even the brightest minds like Shikamaru, Minato, Tobirama, and even Sasuke had no idea what to do. Naruto on the other hand came up with the idea to link his chakra to Minato's, thus connecting Minato's chakra to the entire Shinobi Alliance. This is done by using the chakra link Naruto created when he shared his chakra with everyone on the battlefield. This allowed Minato to then use Flying Raijin to teleport everyone outside of the barrier, thus saving the entire Shinobi Alliance. This for me shows that Naruto's capabilities as a battle tactician is beyond just being unpredictable. He was calm, collected, and calculated right here, which goes against the entire narrative.
So you see, it's not over. Because I exist in this world!
Next on the list we have Naruto versus Obito once again. Now this one is not so obvious since it doesn't spell it out for you. It's a case of show not tell, which is always good. So once again we have Naruto taking control of the battlefield and coming up with a plan and letting Sasuke in on it. They end up merging the Susanoo with the Nine Tails, which significantly increases their power. Naruto then manifested 9 Sage Art infused massive Rasengans, then summoned his friends to help him with delivering the blow. He then pretty much had them use the nature infused Rasengans to weaken Jubito's shield, after which he let Sasuke know that they need to focus everything in a single blow. They then used this window to break Obito's sword and cut right through him. Though this wasn't a simple cut he could heal from, Naruto imbued the sword itself with the chakra of all 9 Biju, and then used the sword as a beacon to extract the Tail Beast chakra within Obito. Coming in at number 15 we have Naruto versus Kaguya. Now this one is just hilarious, but it also shows that Naruto not only understands his abilities, but he also understands the abilities of others as well. In this case, Naruto takes charge of the situation once again, and comes up with a plan to seal Kaguya. He then relays this plan to Sasuke, who was a bit skeptical at first but decides to go along anyway. So Naruto's first plan of action was to have Sasuke distract Kaguya using Amaterasu. Naruto then took this chance to advance at Kaguya and used the reverse harem jutsu to distract her so that he could land a hit, which actually succeeded. Naruto and Sasuke then lunged at each other with their sealing hands held forward, which is followed by Sasuke using his teleportation technique to teleport Kaguya in front of them at the last minute in an effort to seal her away, though she managed to get away by slipping to the ice dimension using one of her abilities. So although the plan itself ultimately failed in the end, you have to admit that it was a brilliant move on Naruto's part, which would have worked if she didn't have an ability to switch dimensions instantaneously. We also have to mention this particular scene where Naruto pretended to be trapped in order to lure in Kaguya. He literally just laid there and thought about what would have worked and what wouldn't. He then waited for her to attack and countered with an attack of his own at the right time. This is a long ways away from a guy who just jumps into a fight without thinking, which of course adds to my point. Now another scene I'd like to mention is the one where Naruto realized that Black Zetsu and Kaguya figured out that the original Naruto carried the Truth Seeker orbs. Knowing that Kaguya would target him, Naruto covered himself with shadow clones and used that opportunity to pass the Truth Seeker orbs to one of his clones. This of course then tricked Kaguya into killing a shadow clone instead of the real Naruto. In my opinion, this scene is only here to cause emotional tension between the characters because us as the audience is fully aware that Naruto is the main character, so he obviously wasn't going to die here. Now the last Kaguya related scene I'd like to mention is the one where they actually sealed her away. Now I wasn't sure if I'm gonna include this in the video since it was actually Kakashi's plan and not Naruto's. I eventually decided to put it in because I wanted to highlight Naruto's masterful use of the shadow clone and transformation jutsu in this instance. Now to break it down, the first thing we see Naruto do here is to create multiple shadow clones and uses them to hide Sasuke and himself. It is then later revealed that during this time Naruto used the transformation technique to transform into Sasuke while the real Sasuke remained behind. Kakashi then used his 6-pass enhanced Chidori to cut through and disabled Kaguya's right arm, which actually played a huge part in her not being able to stop Naruto later on. So as Naruto was charging at Kaguya from both sides to enact the seal, Kaguya decided to take out Naruto, who is then revealed to be a clone. The real Naruto then transformed back into himself, while the real Sasuke switched places with the clone of Naruto that was destroyed. Kaguya of course sees what's going on and decides to end Naruto once again using her Ash Bones jutsu, only for it to be calmed away by Kakashi himself. She then thought to herself that the only way to escape is by flying upwards, but sadly she's then greeted with a solid punch from Sakura, which allowed Naruto and Sasuke to land the seal. What I really liked about this is that everything meant something and everyone did something, and that's not often the case in these overcrowded animes, including Naruto.
Yep, what a nice picture you guys make right now.
Do it! Yeah! Cha! All right!
I really love you guys.
Now let's talk about the infamous Naruto vs Sasuke fight. Now to be honest here, this fight, much like their first fight in the Final Valley, didn't have much strategy to it, especially on Naruto's part. He was mostly on defense the entire time, so that leaves very little room for a viable attack strategy. Though I would like to point out a very specific scene where after Sasuke absorbed the chakra of all 9 Biju into his Susanoo and became all powerful, Naruto very purposefully forced Sasuke into the upper atmosphere so that he wouldn't be able to see the shadow clone of Kurama absorbing nature energy. I kid you not when I say that this single decision is what brought Naruto back into the fight and gave him a winning chance. There's also this scene where Naruto notices that Sasuke's Sharingan was deactivated through the reflection shown in his headband. He then used the opportunity to launch a counterattack, thus sending Sasuke flying, which also made him quite angry.
And over and over, over and over. Just give up and let me cut you down already!
Next we have Naruto vs Toneri from the last movie. I for one love this fight and just the movie in general, however, we're only going to focus on one scene in particular. This is when Naruto attacked Toneri with his massive Rasengan barrage technique. Toneri then proceeded to block the attack and shield himself using his Truth Seeker orbs. Knowing that he wasn't going to break through, Naruto goes underground and then emerges within the shield itself and escorts Toneri out with a Rasengan. This scene reminded me of Naruto vs Neji from the original Naruto series, and the soundtrack itself was just awesome. Next up we have Naruto protecting the village. You see, this all began when Momoshiki invaded the village, trying to steal the tail beast chakra stored within Naruto. Momoshiki then decided to flex his power a bit by launching an attack that was stated to have the ability to wipe out the entire village. Naruto, knowing this, decided to contain the attack instead of countering with an attack of his own, since the blowback would have likely wiped out most of the villagers. This of course led to Naruto himself absorbing all of the impact, which knocked him unconscious, though I'm still wondering why Sasuke didn't just absorb some of the attack or the attack itself with his Rinnegan, the literal Rinnegan, in his eye socket, you know, that thing, that blue thing there that has the ability to absorb chakra and attacks, you know, stated to possess a bottomless pit, by the way, but you know, maybe he just doesn't have the ability, who knows. You also have honorable mentions such as Naruto pretending to be inferior to Delta so that he could extract information about Gaara and the Jigen, then also later overwhelming Delta with his nigh boundless amounts of chakra in an effort to get her to overheat, which was a good tactic even though I'm not really a fan of the fight itself. With that said, those are all the fights I think Naruto pulled off some great big brain moves in. Of course, I might be missing some things, maybe from some movies like Blood Prison. I think I missed that, but you know, it is what it is. And maybe some other moments during the war as well. But you know, I think I drove home the point in this video, pointing out where Naruto really just puts his mind to task. And it's funny because I also made this post on Twitter where everyone was talking about like Naruto never came up with any plans. He was always getting led by Sasuke. They even made the claim that throughout Naruto's and Sasuke's duo fights, most of them, Sasuke is the one who led Naruto and came up with all of the strategies, which isn't true at all in any sense. Like if you guys go back to watch the Zabuza fight, the Kaguya fight, the Obito fight, like Naruto is the one coming up with the plans that actually work. So there seems to be some cognitive dissonance within the Naruto fandom where Naruto just never comes up with anything and he's just like following Sasuke every time. I don't know, like how do you come to that conclusion? But this isn't a Naruto versus Sasuke video, of course. I'm just saying that there seems to be some misconception about Naruto's contribution to Team 7, you know, even from part 1, which I find very interesting. With that said though, let me know your thoughts on the video itself. Do you think Naruto is a battle genius? Do you think he's battle intuitive? Do you think he just has great battle instincts? Or do you believe that nothing in this video proved that Naruto is indeed a battle genius? And if so, let me know why. And also drop a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.